a declaration and orders from the court that his dismissal from the public service was unlawful. And yesterday, in what can only be considered to be a landmark ruling in Barbados's public law system, the court struck down his dismissal from the public service as unlawful and essentially restored him his salary.
So in terms of precedent, what does this mean now for public officers who might suffer such, the public service who's thinking of going down similar road with other public officers? What's the precedent that this is now sets?
Well, before we get to persons who were dismissed from the public service, having had criminal convictions, the more important point is that the process of fairness has been reinforced by the court in respect of how you discipline public officers. No longer can public officers be disciplined without being present in the room where their matter is being considered. No longer can public officers be disciplined by receiving a letter telling them that they have been disciplined. And the court went through a very systematic process by which it looked at the law. It looked at the law under the Public Service Act, the Code of Conduct and Discipline, the Code of Conduct and Ethics, and also the Code of Discipline in Public Service, those codes, and the interrelation with the Public Service Regulations from 1978. So that, to my mind, it was indeed one of the more erudite and considered legal judgments that I have seen handed down in my 21 years at the bar. And it has a long-standing and profound effect because, in a sense, what the court did was not to look at whether or not these gentlemen should have been dismissed having been convicted, but it looked at the lawfulness of the process used to dismiss them from the public service. And that was what the court found serious error with the way in which the public service, the commission and the then chief personnel officer and the personnel administration department in dealing with this matter, because obviously the Governor General is advised whenever a public officer should be dismissed, and that power is exercised by the Governor General on the advice of the Public Service Commission. So that in this case, Mr. Lynch never had an audience, never had a hearing, never had an opportunity to present anything in mitigation, because as the court systematically determined that dismissal is not the only punishment that is available to the public authorities in the matter, and that having not given him the opportunity to make representations on his own behalf, and having not had an opportunity to review the documents, because up to now he has never seen the documentary evidence that was put before the Service Commission, that was put before the Governor General, and then he appealed to the Privy Council, the local Privy Council. His appeal was heard and determined, and he wasn't present. He made no representations not orally. He made no representations in writing. He didn't get a chance to send a representative, a trade union representative, a lawyer or friend or someone to say something on his behalf. He got a letter saying that the Governor General has considered the matter and he will accept the advice of the Service Commission, and he was fired. So that this process has now been overhauled, and it is overhauled and should be buried with full military honors, because for too long a perfunctory process where you get a letter saying that you've gone through the others, that is the way in which they operate. And what the court has determined, it was that the doctrine of natural justice and the principles of fairness require you to be able to answer a charge against you. No man should be condemned in absentia. So that this ruling is a landmark ruling. So it not only helps persons who may have been convicted in our court system for criminal offense, but it also reinforces the broader public law principles that the determination of your employment, how it impacts on you and your family, how you'll be able to, is it necessary for a dismissal to be automatic on conviction?